Hi everyone, welcome to my channel. My name is Umut. So in this video, I would like to go over my probably favorite Turkish niche brand, Nishane, which has become one of the best niche brands in the world over the years. And I'm really proud of them. They have some amazing fragrances. They have a lot of fragrances, so obviously I don't have all of their fragrances. But I will be going over my Nishane collection, and so this will be more like a buying guide. So I will be describing how they make you feel, what they smell like. I won't be going over the details of every fragrance because then it will be like a very long video. But this will be a video to give you an idea of how they smell, and like if you're in the market for a Nishane fragrance, I think this will be beneficial to at least know what's like. I mean, how can you use it? When can you use it? If it's unisex or not. So this will be a kind of guide video of the Nishane fragrances. There are a lot of fragrances, so let's get started. So I will be going over the fragrances in the chronological order because there's no specific, this is not like a rank list, this is just a buying guide. So all of them are X-traits. The Nishane fragrance is always X-traits. That doesn't mean they project too much. You know, the X-traits don't always project, but they actually have like sticking power. So, but most of them are like very strong fragrances, so you wouldn't have any performance issues with them. So I will start with my first fragrance, which is Sultan Vetiver. So Sultan Vetiver is vetiver lover's dream. You can say that because it has 5 different types of vetiver in it. So every type of like green vetiver, earthy vetiver, woody vetiver, so all kinds of vetiver in it. But it smells, for me, it smells like inside of a bath or a bathhouse or a sauna, which is like a kind of like eucalyptus smelling. That smell is amazing. I love that smell. And this fragrance is also, of course, it gets like sweeter in the end, but in the first, when you smell this one, you feel like you're in a very luxurious spa bathhouse with an eucalyptus oils everywhere. It's like, it's an amazing fragrance. It smells amazing. It has amazing power. So this one is really strong. You cannot use this in the hot weather. It's very cold weather appropriate. It's, I think it's more masculine. I don't think it's very unisex, but if you're in the market for a vetiver fragrance, you should try this one because this has all kinds of vetiver in it and it smells amazing and it's very strong. So this will be the first fragrance in the chronological order, Sultan Vetiver. The next fragrance is Tuberoza. So this is more a feminine leading fragrance because it's kind of, the tuberose is very, very prominent with ylang ylang, of course, but this is not a fresh suntan lotiony tuberose. This is a very dark, bold, mysterious kind of tuberose fragrance. That's why it's very feminine leaning. It's also kind of mature, so it's not a very youthful fragrance. It's very strong, very powerful. But if you're over like 25 or 30, this will be an amazing going out fragrance or night out fragrance. So if you're in the market for one, this will be a great alternative to Tuberoza. The next fragrance is Wulong Cha. Now, this fragrance is very, very meditative. It has oolong tea in it. It's very creamy. Like it makes you feel very relaxed. This is definitely a summer-based fragrance. It gets like kind of sweeter, creamy in the end, but it's very light, airy, appropriate for very, very hot weather. I mean, this will be like an easygoing fragrance. You can spray this one like 50 times and you won't offend anyone. So it's an amazing fragrance. For what it is, it has good performance. So it's not appropriate for cold weather. It's very light, airy, kind of sweet, but very, very meditative. So I love this fragrance. Like even if you're in your house just doing chores and everything, this will be a great fragrance to spray and just feel good. So this is one of my favorite fragrances from Nishane. It's Wulong Cha. The next fragrance is Ambra Calabria. So I think this is one of the underrated fragrances for Nishane because it's an amazing fragrance. It's an amber fragrance, but not the kind of amber that we're used to. This is a fresh amber fragrance. It's creamy. It's kind of floral, but the creaminess with the floral notes are just amazing. This is a bright amber fragrance, appropriate for, except for like winter. You can use this like in summer, spring, fall, especially for the transition seasons. It's an amazing fragrance. I mean, I wish they had made this in 100 ml, but they don't. So this is one of the most underrated. You should try this one. It's very unisex. I don't think it's appropriate. It's appropriate for every age. So amazing, floral, kind of creamy, ambery fragrance, which is very. This is also very relaxing fragrance, so you should try this one, Ambra Calabria. The next fragrance is Pachuli Kozha. Now this fragrance is a very elegant and like James Bond type of fragrance. So it's basically a patchouli fragrance, but it has honey in it. It's kind of like a suede leather touch to it. It's very strong, very powerful. It's not appropriate to wear with a t-shirt or jeans and everything. This is a very elegant. It makes you like smell rich. It's something you would put on in a meeting or something, or like if you were in a suit, this would be an amazing fragrance. It's very masculine. I don't think it's unisex, but if you're looking for a classic fragrance, this is an amazing one. You should try it. It's Pachuli Kozha. The next fragrance is 100 Silent Ways. Now this fragrance is very much a very young, playful fragrance. It has like a tuberose and peach in it. It's very creamy. It's very sticky. It's an amazing fragrance. It's very sweet. Like you should have a sweet tooth for this fragrance because it's very sweet. I don't think it's very feminine. It's unisex, kind of feminine leaning, but I usually don't use this one on its own. I always layer it with Hacivat, which is one of the recommendations of the owners, which is an amazing combination. So this is a very playful, sweet, sticky fragrance with the peach and tuberose very prominent. It has like a very good longevity and very good projection. So it's unisex, just a little bit feminine leaning, but you should try this one, 100 Silent Ways. The next fragrance is Fan Your Flames. Now this one is my favorite Nishane fragrance. It's the perfect definition for a niche fragrance for me. It has rum, tobacco, and coconut in it. So it's almost like a drink, like a coconut drink, like a pina colada with tobacco in it. It's an amazing fragrance. If you spray your clothes, it will stay there forever. The dry down is amazing. That combination, smell like kind of sweet, boozy, tobacco combination, it's amazing. I think it's very masculine. It's not unisex fragrance, but it has excellent longevity and CRs. You should try this one if you haven't. If you like tobacco, if you like boozy scents, this is one of the scents you should try. Fan Your Flames. The next fragrance is Hacivat. Now this is one of the Nishane's best sellers and basically probably made Nishane very famous in the first place because it has pineapple in it. Everyone compared it to Aventus. It's definitely not related to Aventus. So this is a very green, pineapple and woody scent. It's a very sharp greenness coming from the oak moss. So it's not very, actually I'm very surprised this one is that popular because it's not for everyone. It's kind of sharp. It's not a very smooth, round fragrance like a Cedrat Bosé or something. This is very like in your face, pineapple, oak moss, and woody fragrance. Of course, it's very long lasting. It projects a lot. You can almost use this in every season because it's so strong. I love this fragrance, but I don't think it's very amazingly mass appealing. but it's a very good fragrance. Like that's why it was very famous. But the oak moss note is definitely there, so you should try this one before you buy. It's Hacivat. The next fragrance is B612. So this fragrance is one of also the most underrated fragrances. It's an amazing subtle fragrance with lavender and kind of cashmere notes, and then goes to sweeter notes at the base. But it's more like a old school fragrance that is like now like met with modern notes. It's an amazing fragrance that cashmere note is really there. The lavender is there. It's almost like a fougere with a modern fragrance. It doesn't scream. It stays with you very long time, but it doesn't project that much. But it's a perfect fragrance for classy occasions, for work. This is an amazing fragrance. You should try this one. I think it's very masculine. I don't think it's unisex. So this is a classy lavender, cashmere, kind of green fragrance that smells amazing. B612. The next fragrance is Ani. With Hacivat, this is one of the most famous fragrance of Nishane, of course. It's a Sicil-Zorokian fragrance. I mean, most probably you've heard of this fragrance. This is a kind of spicy vanilla scent, basically. It's with ginger and vanilla combination. It's amazing. I think it also has that freshness coming from the ginger, so I've even used it in summer with less sprays, and it's an amazing combination. I love this fragrance. It's not very complex. Basically, it's one of the best vanilla fragrances you can get. That spicy ginger with vanilla is just heavenly. So you should try this one if you haven't. It's very unisex. Everyone can use this one, and it's one of Sicil-Zorokian's best fragrances, so it's Ani. The next fragrance is Nefs. Now, this series of fragrances are very expensive from Nishane, but I think they actually deserve it because they're very complex, very strong, bold fragrances, all of them in this series. And Nefs is probably one of the best ones. It's probably my second favorite fragrance of Nishane because technically, if you read this one, it's like a rose oud fragrance, but it's not that. It's much more than that. Actually, I smell rose and oud like less. So it has whiskey, it has honey, it has plum, has all kinds of notes, and of course rose and oud, but it's not your typical rose and oud fragrance. It's an amazing, complex, beautiful fragrance. Even with all those notes, I think it's very mass appealing. It projects a lot. It really fills the room. It's an amazing performance, but it's a smooth fragrance. It's not like a sharp or edgy. It's very, very smooth, but it's very strong, of course. It's very complex. You should try this one. It doesn't smell like anything you've smelled before. Of course, it's very expensive, but I think it's also very masculine, but of course, women can wear this one too, but it's mostly masculine. Very, very amazing performance. It's Nefs. The next fragrance is Unutamam, which means I cannot forget in Turkish. So these black series are mostly experimental fragrances from Nishane. They're not meant to be worn every day. So this is also very challenging. So when I first smell it, it's like you've just opened a fresh box of tennis balls and you're smelling inside. It really has that smell. So of course, after a couple of hours, it becomes more wearable, like a patchouli kind of fragrance, but I don't think it's meant to be like worn every day. So it's very challenging, kind of animalic, but it's definitely a niche fragrance meant for like niche fragrance lovers. So it's Unutamam. The next fragrance is Ege. So Ege means the Aegean side of like Turkey and Greece, whatever you want to call it. So it's basically smells like the bottle. It's kind of like, it reminds you of the seaside, like you're right on the beach eating a fresh salad with cucumber and everything. So it's fresh, it's invigorating, it takes you to that next to the sea. It's not like a blue fragrance as in like with the ones with cologne, like very Mega Mare or Acqua di Sale. It's not like that fragrance. It's blue, but it's more like you're right next to the seaside. It's very fresh. It's an amazing fragrance. Of course, it's kind of woody too when you smell it, but really right off the bat, if you smell it, it smells like a cucumber. It's an amazing fragrance. I can use this every time I want to feel better. Like it's a pick-me-up fragrance too. It's an amazing fragrance. You should try this one. It's Ege. So the next fragrance is Nanshe. This is also one of the most underrated fragrances. Everyone thinks this is a feminine fragrance, but it's totally unisex. It's a patchouli fragrance, but very peculiar. It has iris in it. It has some powdery notes. It's very comforting. It's smooth, soothing. It's an amazing fragrance. Usually, I think it's appropriate for nighttime or when you're going out. It's for dates. It's an amazing fragrance. It has very good longevity. It doesn't project that much, but very underrated. Perfect fragrance. It's a very different patchouli fragrance that's kind of sweet. You really get that iris and powdery notes. It's an amazing fragrance. It's Nanshe. The next fragrance is Shem. Of course, this is also the expensive series bottle, but it's very strong, very bold. It's basically a green leather scent, but the leather is not like a barnyard leather. It's a very clean leather scent. It's very strong. I think it's very masculine. It really fills up the room. It really says, okay, that person was here. So if you want to impress someone, you can spray this one. It's an amazing fragrance. But if you like leather, you should definitely try this one. It's a green leather that's kind of unique. It's beautiful. It's Shem. The next fragrance is Favonius. So this one, as you can see, was used to be a Harris exclusive, but now you can purchase it anywhere. It's a rose fragrance that is kind of green, but it's not very strong rose fragrance. Like it's like if you're not used to rose fragrances, if you just want to try a rose fragrance, you can try this one. I mean, it's not very offensive. I think it's very unisex, so I don't really don't like rose fragrances that much, but I can definitely use this one because it's not cloying. It's a very nice green type of rose. It's kind of smoky, but it's a beautiful fragrance. Of course, its performance is amazing, so it might be too much for summer months, but for the cooler months, it's a beautiful fragrance. So if you're in the market for a rose fragrance, but you're not too much fan of it, you can try this one. It's beautiful. It's Favonius. The next fragrance is Mana. So this is also a very, very strong rose nude fragrance made by Christian Provenzano. It also has like ambery notes. It's like a maybe castoreum note. It's very strong, very potent, bold fragrance. It's a rosewood fragrance, but I don't really get the rose that much. So it's a rosewood fragrance, kind of sweetened by the amber notes, but kind of animalic. It's a beautiful fragrance. Of course, very Middle Eastern, strong. Like if you want to make a statement, you can try this one. It's a beautiful scent. It's Mana. So the next fragrance is Papilefiko. So this is a Dominique Ropion fragrance. It's a beautiful fragrance, very complicated, but also very mass appealing. Basically, it's a kind of spicy, sweet, sticky, ambery scent, but it's not very dark. So I think you can use this as a signature scent. It's beautiful. Its performance is amazing. It's sweet, but not too sweet. It's a really sticky fragrance. It's not very dry. But very mass appealing. It doesn't smell like it's flat. It smells very complicated, but at the same time, very mass appealing. So you should try this one if you're looking for a signature scent. I think it's more masculine, but it's also unisex, so you can use this one. It doesn't have like an age limit, so you can use this one anytime if you're looking for a signature scent. It's a beautiful scent. It's Papilefiko. The next fragrance is Tempfluo. So this is also kind of underrated. Everyone thinks this is more feminine. It might be a little bit feminine, but it's a beautiful fragrance. It's a white flower, kind of tuberose white flower, a green scent. It's very different. I love this one. I usually think that feminine leaning unisex fragrances are more appropriate for men to wear because they get the most compliments. So this one is like that. It's a beautiful fragrance. It projects. I think it's more appropriate for the transition seasons like fall and spring. It's beautiful. I mean, you shouldn't be afraid of white flowers. This smells amazing. It's Tempfluo. The next fragrance is Kredo. So this one is kind of easy to explain because it smells like kind of in the same ballpark with Tom Ford's Oud Wood. So it's a woody fragrance. It's kind of green, but of course it's much more powerful than Oud Wood. So if you're looking to buy that kind of DNA, this is an amazing fragrance. It's also a bit greener than Oud Wood. It's a woody green fragrance which has amazing performance. Of course, it's an extrait fragrance that actually projects also. So if you're looking for a Oud Wood type of fragrance, this would be a great alternative with the price and the smell. It's beautiful. It's more masculine. I don't think it's very unisex, but it can be a signature scent. It's beautiful. It's Kredo. So the next fragrance is Tero. So this one is more of a gourmand fragrance. It's a beautiful caramel, patchouli type of fragrance. It's beautiful. It doesn't, when I say caramel and patchouli, it doesn't smell like Unique Luxuries Crush on Me. This is more subtle. The caramel note is amazing. It's not too sweet. So it's almost like a wearable gourmand fragrance with caramel and patchouli basically. It's beautiful. Its performance is amazing. It's not cloying. It's a beautiful, well-balanced unisex fragrance. It's Tero. Now the next fragrance is Hacivat X. Now this is a more mass-appealing version of Hacivat because it doesn't have the oak moss in it. It's more woody. You can still get the pineapple, but it's like an everyday fragrance. It's more balanced, more unisex. So I like this one actually. Usually the X versions I really don't like most of them, but this is one of the ones that I like. So it's more wearable version of Hacivat. I mean, I also said that Hacivat is not very mass appealing because of the oak moss note, so this one doesn't have that one. It still has the same DNA, but more wearable. It has good performance, so this is a good version of Hacivat. It's Hacivat X. So the next one is 100 Silent Ways X. So this one is a less playful version of 100 Silent Ways. So it's not that youthful, playful fragrance. This is more mass appealing. So the tuberose and the peach are turned down, so it's more get them less. In the base, you have like kind of a leathery vanilla base. So this is more of a toned down, mass appealing version of the 100 Silent Ways. So basically, if that one is too much for you, this one is a better option. Of course, also, it has a little bit less performance than the 100 Silent Ways, which is very, very strong. So you can try this one. It's 100 Silent Ways. So the next fragrance is Ani X. So this one is actually one of the good ones for the X series. It has the same DNA, of course, but it's more complex. So the original Ani is basically a spicy, gingery vanilla scent. But this one is more complex. It has more layers, more depth. But it's also more even more mass appealing. It's not as strong as the original Honey, but I also think that this is less fresh. So I've used Honey even in the summer, but this one is more of a mature version of Honey, you can say that one, but it's beautiful. It's also unisex. It has some like notes like rose and other notes added to it, so it's more complicated, but still has the same DNA. Beautiful fragrance. You should try this one. It's Honey X. So the next fragrance is Wulong Cha X. So this one is also more like a mass appealing daily version of the Wulong Cha. So it has the green tea instead of oolong tea. It's more woody. It's not as meditative. It's not as calming as the original Wulong Cha, but this is something you can use every day in the summertime or springtime because it's very not unoffensive. It's beautiful, but you don't have that same calming effect of the Wulong Cha. This is more of a daily summer and spring fragrance. It's also very unisex, so this is Wulong Cha X. The next fragrance is Fan Your Flames X. So I was kind of biased about this fragrance because Fan Your Flames is my favorite Nishane. I mean, I thought, how can they make it better? And of course they didn't, because this one is a toned down version of Fan Your Flames, so it actually kind of lost its soul. You get everything less, like the tobacco is less, the rum is less, the coconut is less. It has like notes like carrot in it, so it's kind of sweeter, but it doesn't have the same dry down, the same character as the Fan Your Flames. This is more of a unisex version of Fan Your Flames. So the other one was very masculine. So if you like that DNA, if you're a woman, you can use this one. This is less bold and in your face. So, but if you think that this is a better version of Fan Your Flames, it's not. So it's Fan Your Flames X. And the next fragrance is Hacivat Oud. So for a long time I stayed away from this fragrance because it's also in this expensive series. But once I tried it, I actually love this one. This is my favorite Hacivat flanker, whatever you say, Hacivat version. So this one is actually the original Hacivat with oud like added to it. It's kind of like a barnyard oud. It's not very like a smooth, very much westernized oud. It's kind of like barnyard oud, but not too much. It's perfectly balanced. I mean, the addition of oud with the Hacivat DNA is amazing. I mean, of course, its performance is amazing. So, like, if I didn't think about money, if I wanted to buy a Hacivat fragrance, this one would be the one that I would buy. It's kind of strong. You cannot spray too much in the summer, but still, I mean, if you're in Dubai, you can spray it. So it's a beautiful fragrance. You should try this one if you can. It's strong, bold Hacivat with added character into it. It's Hacivat Oud. So the next fragrance is Tuberoza X. So this is also a Dominic Ropion fragrance. I actually love this one. This is not like the original Tuberoza. This is more youthful, less dense, less bold. It can be, it's more unisex. I mean, I can use this one easily. I use this one daily. You still have that ylang ylang tuberose, of course, but it's very, very subtle. It's almost like a fresh tuberose fragrance. It's beautiful. Of course, it's Dominic Ropion made this fragrance, but it's more unisex version of Tuberoza, the more youthful, everyday kind of fragrance. It's Tuberoza X. So the next fragrance is Shinanay. So this is also in the experimental bottles, but this one is actually more wearable in my opinion, because it's more of a kind of animalistic amber fragrance, which is beautiful. It's sweet but animalic. I think it has castoreum in it, but it doesn't smell experimental. It smells like a real beautiful niche fragrance. of course, it's very strong, very powerful. You cannot spray too much, but still, it's more wearable. It's you get that animalic notes, but it's really well balanced. It's an amber fragrance basically. It's beautiful. You can try this one. It's Shinanay. So the last fragrance in my collection is Deziro. So this fragrance was criticized too much because everyone thinks this smells like a designer fragrance. Well, I mean, it's created by Alberto Morillas, who is the king of designer fragrances. So expecting anything else is kind of not logical from Alberto Morillas. But this one is actually a perfect fragrance for me. I mean, I don't care about the criticism. This is an aromatic, ambery fragrance that's kind of green. It's beautiful. It has amazing performance. It gets compliments, so you get everything that you would want from a fragrance. I don't think this smells like a designer fragrance. I mean, it has the designerish vibe into it, but it's very complex. It feels more finished, more refined. It's a beautiful fragrance. I mean, if you're staying away from this because everyone thinks this is a designer fragrance, it's not. It's beautiful. I mean, it gets the job done. It smells amazing. I get compliments when I use it. It has amazing performance. So what else would you want from a fragrance? It's beautiful. It's Deziro. So these are the fragrances in my collection. Of course, I have some more discontinued fragrances. They're amazing, but I didn't talk about them because you cannot find them anymore. So this is one of the might be one of the problems of Nishane Fragrances. Sometimes they disconnect some fragrances, or there might be some, of course, batch variations due to sourcing or whatever. So if you really like one, you should get one. You shouldn't wait for next season because, like, for example, in Hacivat, there might be some changes every year. So if you like what you smell, you should get that one because next year it might be kind of different. Of course, it doesn't change as much like Aventus or something, but still there are subtle changes. So you should keep this in mind. So Nishane is one of the brands that I love because, like, it has fragrances for every occasion. So not every niche brand is like that. So basically, if I had to live with only one brand in my life, I could live with Nishane because it covers all of my needs. Like Xerjoff is one of those kind of brands, but for example, with Amouage, you cannot do that because it doesn't have many fresh fragrances. It's mostly like darker, richer fragrances. So basically, Nishane is amazing. So if you're in the market, I hope this one helps. So I hope to see you in the next video.